We're
Disabled Disney.
Hi, welcome to this week's video for Disabled Disney. I'm Melissa.
I'm Jillian.
And I'm David.
And this week's video is from viewer suggestion, and I'm going to butcher your name. I am so sorry. Snea? I'm sorry. I love your name. It's cool, but I don't know how to say it. I'm sorry. Again. This video is for you. She wanted us to do a video on
Conspiracy theories!
Disney conspiracy theories.
Shouldn't we have foil hats for that, though? So that way the CIA doesn't use their mind probes on us?
That's not a Disney conspiracy. That's just a conspiracy theory.
Oh.
So we are...
So that way Imagineers don't use mind probes on us?
Hey, if Imagineers want to know what I think about Disneyland, I'm all for that.
I think it would include something like, bring back the People Mover!
Yes! I miss the People Mover so much. I love the People Mover. Anyway, so we're going to be talking about Disney conspiracy theories. We are going to do this in a specific way. So we are going to tell you what the conspiracy theory is. We are going to tell you... I've done some research on them. We're going to tell you what the research is. And then we're going to tell you what each of us thinks if it could be plausible. So maybe, maybe not. Or if it's untrue. And then majority's going to rule how we rank it. So 2 out of 3. So if 2 of us say it's plausible, we're going to rank it as plausible. If 2 of us say untrue, we're going to rank it as untrue. Or if 3 of us, obviously that's a majority. But since there's 3 of us, we're going to do 2 out of 3. And we're going to tell you our thoughts. So if you want to tell us in the comments what your thoughts are, we are going to number these so you can tell us the conspiracy theory number, and then if you think it's plausible or if you think it's untrue in the comments. All right. So the first one we're going to cover is the Disneyland cats. So, the conspiracy theory is that Disney brings in cats to kill off mice or other vermins or...
So there's 2 mice that they would want to keep. 3 if you count Mortimer.
Mortimer?
Mortimer Mouse.
Who's Mortimer Mouse?
Mortimer Mouse is actually Mickey's original name, but they changed... but Walt changed it under the advisement of his wife. We know how that goes. From Mortimer to Mickey.
You know what they say, behind every great man is an even smarter woman.
What about Steamboat Willie? What happened with him?
Well, he's Mickey as one of Mickey's characters.
Yeah.
So he's not a separate character. He's Mickey acting.
Oh.
Like if Mickey were an actor. If Mickey Mouse was the actor, Steamboat Willie would be the character.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Okay, so yes, there is a couple of mice that they want to keep on Disney property. But the conspiracy theory is that Disney actually brings in cats to get rid of critters and varmints and stuff. So, that's the conspiracy theory. Now we're going to talk about each of us what we think about it. Personally, I think it's untrue because I've never seen a cat in Disneyland. I've seen ducks. I've seen birds. I've seen, I don't know, like wild creatures all around. But I've never seen a cat or evidence of a cat. And I think with as many times as I've been to Disneyland now, I would have seen a cat if Disney brought in cats. I think maybe it could have been true in the beginning, maybe? Like when Disneyland was first there. Because, you know, they were building on this vast land that used to be an orchard. Or farm. Was it a farm or an orchard?
It was an orchard.
Well,
boat. Yeah, I don't know, this vast land out in the middle of nowhere in California, right at the time. And, you know, I could have imagined he might have brought in cats initially to kill off creatures because that would be easier than trying to keep them out while they were building. I could see that, but now, no. So I think it's untrue. Who's next?
Okay, Dad's looking at me, so I guess I'm gonna go. I think it's plausible because despite the fact that we've never seen evidence of a cat, doesn't mean that they're not there. And Disney's just covering it up with the smellitizer.
So your vote is plausible.
Yep.
Well, see, I can see where this would get started, especially with the fact that cats can sneak, like a stray cat can sneak through anywhere where it smells food. And let's be honest, everywhere you walk in Disneyland, you smell food. So
That's true.
I could see where this would get started, especially if there was some cats that, you know, snuck into the park through maybe where they could fit underneath or through a gate, a fence, something like that, where they're smelling the food, trying to get away from people, and getting into areas that are not commonly walked through. Because there are some places that are not necessarily gone through, especially, you know, if part of a ride's closed and they leave it abandoned. I mean, they do have lots of track from the people movers that are still there. I did hear a rumor that there was some cats living in the castle when the castle was closed, and that they did have a problem trying to get them to move when they were vamping the inside of the castle in order to get it to, or, you know, and restoring the walkthrough and increasing the effects and
So like they're doing right now.
Right. So I think with all that construction that's in there, if the cats were living in there, they'd be getting chased out, in which case people would be seeing cats. And I think with all the YouTube bloggers and cameras and everything that are out there, you'd be seeing cats on YouTube, Instagram, from inside of Disneyland. I haven't seen any evidence of that, because even if a cat is used to being nocturnal, if it's chased out of where it normally sleeps, it's going to be moving around. It's going to find someplace else. So you would see cats like laying underneath a tree or something like that, trying to be away from people. And like I said, we're just not seeing that. So I'm thinking this one's probably untrue.
All right, so that's 2 out of 3. So we are going to say this one is untrue. All right, so number 2 would be Walt, either his whole body or his head, cryogenically frozen, and then somewhere underneath Disneyland. Who wants to start with this one? You want to start?
I guess I can. I've heard the version of this that I've heard the most is underneath Space Mountain. I'm pretty sure they don't have room for it under there. As tightly packed as they have the track for Space Mountain, if they had some more room available in some way, shape, or form, pretty sure they'd be using it to expand the track when they've restored it and taken everything apart and put it back together again. And another one that I've heard is that he's in the Matterhorn someplace. I find that fairly unbelievable, even though I've actually seen pictures of the basketball court, so I do know that it's not actually a court, it's not even a half court, it's a hoop
Yeah.
put up just so that way people can have something to do when they're taking a break up there. And it's for the people who clean it, you know, so, but a little bit of a bonus in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure there's something in California law that says you can't store a dead person in an amusement park. I could be wrong. I'm no lawyer, and nor have I even attempted to study California law. But I just find that totally unbelievable.
So his vote is untrue. You want to go next?
I kind of think that we're all going to say the same exact thing on this, which is that it's untrue because, like you said, there's like no room in any of the rides or underneath any of the rides that to where they could put him under there, or in. I don't think it's true. I think it's untrue.
Okay, so my point of view is based on medical experience because my job history is medical experience. In order to keep someone cryogenically frozen, you have to have an extreme amount of power to run and keep running the units to keep it cold enough to keep someone cryogenically frozen. And I don't see how Disney could have put something like that in 1966, when he died. The technology at the time when he died was just starting to even be talked about. So if he had been interested in it at all, which is where this claim originally started because supposedly he talked to somebody about it, in 1966 when he died, they wouldn't have had the technology to be able to do this. So one of the places I've heard that he is underneath Club 33. There is a secret room, and his head is in a freezer down there. So again, not really plausible. The other thing is he was cremated, which was attested by a county coroner and an employee of the forest lawn where his remains are interred. And right here I'm going to put up a picture of his gravesite. And so he died December 15th, 1966. So, untrue, and that is all three of us. Woo.
So it's untrue.
So we're saying it's untrue. Yep. All right. Number 3, the conspiracy theory that they leave the lights and music of all of the attractions running 24 hours a day, all night long. They just let it rip and let it run. First of all, if that was the case, Disney would have a horrible electric bill. I mean, it's probably bad enough as it is.
Oh yeah.
But can you imagine?
Even though they do a lot of things to try to knock down that amount some.
Can you imagine the electricity bill they left them running all the time?
I'm willing to bet a third of that ticket price just goes to pay for power.
Probably. But anyway, so another thing is, we have actually been on an attraction when it was broken down, and they do turn off all the music, the sound effects. They turn on some extra lights if it's a dark ride, which ours was.
They turn off the animatronics.
Yeah, they turn everything off. So they have the capability of turning it off, and if you have the capability of turning it off, why wouldn't you at the end of the night? The next thing with that is we have been in the back of Disneyland in Norland Square, as a matter of fact, after park closing, because we had gotten in line for Haunted Mansion. We were the last ones off the ride, actually, because the other people that we were the last set to go on, and then the other people were all getting off, and being that I am disabled and I have to get off the ride at the entrance of the ride, I don't get off at the escalators because I can't go up those, and I need to get back to the wheelchair, which is back around the front. We were the last people off the ride. And yeah, when you're walking through Disneyland after park closing and there's nobody there, it's so eerie. everything's off, all the lights are off, all the sounds are off, and it is so quiet.
You can hear a pin drop.
And peaceful. I was afraid to talk. It was like being in church. Like, you know, like...
The thing that really got me was walking back through that hallway that you first walk down after you get out of the elevator
and all
in Haunted Mansion, and it wasn't raining. There was no lightning storm outside the window.
Off.
It was quiet in there. There was no sounds whatsoever, no effects from anything. Of course, the busts were still watching us, but, you know, they were moving with us. But that's a separate effect.
So it was really weird and creepy and cool at the same time. It's really kind of cool to see the stuff, I think, that we sometimes get to see having the disability access. But
there's things we miss too.
That's true. So I'm going to say untrue.
I think we all mutually agreed that was untrue.
All right.
Curtains and blinds open, so that way you could see into where Club 33's bar was and all the glasses and stuff. Granted, you're a floor below them and looking up, but you could still see part of it, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Probably unless there's somebody out there who goes, you know what? I want them to go into Club 33. I'm gonna send them there. I think that's as close to being able to see the inside of Club 33 we're going to get.
So if you're out there watching this and you can get us into Club 33, I would love you forever. And I really want to go so bad.
Isn't it like 21 plus?
No.
It's a restaurant. They have a bar too, but kids can go in.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm not a kid.
Yeah, but you're under 21,
you're
so you can't have the alcohol.
All right, so we are saying untrue. The characters on It's a Small World come to life.
Even when unplugged. Dad, go.
Okay, now I've actually heard both ways on this. All I know is I already hate the ride as it is.
Which is why we picked this one.
Honestly,
some of those animatronics look creepy enough as it is. Just the thought of them moving on their own. We're talking flashbacks of Chucky here. Anyway. So, I'm thinking if they ever came to life, I think that would be reason number one for Disney to close down the ride, even though it's a popular attraction and one of the original ideas that Walt had. I mean, in spite of the fact that there's videos out there of like people being trapped on the ride forever and never being able to get off of it.
I believe that's Disney World, the one you're talking about.
Yes, it is.
But if the characters were going to come to life, they would come to life in Disney World as well as Disneyland.
Not just Disneyland.
And it's...
Yeah.
You keep saying characters, but they're actually just animatronics.
But they're so cute.
All right.
Some of them are pretty
So
creepy.
are you saying plausible or untrue?
I'm going to go with untrue, because I think they would step in and, like, first thing that happened to where, you know, like, one of these animatronics was moving on their own, I think they would pull the plug on it and get that thing out of there, because of the fact that would be way too unpredictable with guests being through there, especially kids.
We know, everybody knows, late at night, if you're working someplace, it's dark, and they do all of the maintenance on these animatronics at night. Mm-hmm. People can see things at night, like dinosaurs and Tyrannosaurus Rexes. What? That don't exist. You can convince yourself you saw anything, even an inanimate object, move, or something that's there that isn't.
And this could just simply be an animatronic's arm is still up, and then enough hydraulic pressure has released to where it starts coming down, or it just drops on its own because it's released that pressure. and they go, that one moved on its own. Well, there's a mechanical reason behind it.
So there are things that happen in life that we don't understand, yes. But the animatronics coming to life on their own, even when there's no power going to them, is so funny to me. Because it can't be true. So I'm going to say untrue.
I mean, while it would be cool...
It's not like it's a Plymouth Fury.
While it would be cool, because it's not like they can actually, like, come out of the wall and come attack guests.
Well, how do you know
No.
if they can come to life? How do you know that they can't do that?
All they'd have to do is just detach themselves from whatever is anchoring them to wherever they're at.
Will you guys let me finish? While it would be cool, I don't think it's true. I think it's untrue.
Right. So we're going to say untrue. Walt Disney using Club 33 for Illuminati meetings. And if you don't know what Illuminati is, it is a dark practice part of the Masonic clubs. So I did a bunch of research on this one. A bunch. And there is evidence that Walt was, as a child, joined the Demole Club, which is a child offshoot of the Freemasons. So it's part of the organization, but so it would be like a kid's version of it, though. So you're not a full Freemason, but it's like a kids club version, kind of. But there is no actual evidence that he ever joined the Freemason Society, even though it is rumored he was a 33-degree Freemason. Because he liked the number 3. I'm
still confused.
It's okay. We'll explain it to you later. So...
And mind you, we're not saying anything negative about the Freemasons. Okay?
Not trying to anyway.
No. They're a good organization. They're a very good organization as far as helping people out, and they do a lot for the community. So I do not want to say that there's anything negative with them, but we find it very difficult to believe that Walt Disney would do anything that would be less than above board.
There is evidence of a Freemason club existing in Disneyland in, I don't know if it's still there, but for employees that were Freemasons to meet. So Club 33 could be a possibility for where they would have meetings for that if there truly is one. There is some evidence that they had a Freemasons club meeting there for people who were members. I mean, Club 33 would be the ideal spot to have Candlestein meetings, because you can only get up there if you're a member, and it's only open certain hours, and it would be, I mean, you could like pretend you're going to the park with your family could go off and you could go up there. I mean, it would be a great place for something like that to occur.
Which is definitely how these "we're going to run the world" rumors came about.
So I'm going to say, because he never admitted to being an actual Freemason as an adult, and it's not something that people tend to hide. They tend to be pretty proud of it. And it's not considered, like, you can't tell people. I think he would have completely admitted that he was a Freemason.
There was a time when they weren't supposed to tell people, but that time has passed. I know 4 or 5 Freemasons, and I know one that wears a watch and a ring that's got the Freemason emblems on him. He wears them to work, doesn't hide it whatsoever. I knew one guy who actually had on the back of his Peterbilt, on the sleeper, he had a 4-foot Masonic emblem on the back of his sleeper. and he hauled flatbed, so therefore when he was going down the road empty, you could see it from a half a mile away. So clearly this guy was not hiding what he was a part of.
Yeah, so I think by now there would be definitely some sort of evidence that he was one that had come out, and so we would know. I'm going to say untrue. Illuminati meetings in Club 33.
No.
Now, just for clarification, Illuminatis are actually the people that are supposedly run the whole world, right?
I'm not sure.
So, I don't think... I think Freemasons and Illuminati are actually separate.
No, Illuminati is like a darker part of the Freemasons. I looked it up.
Yeah, I don't think... I think Walt was more of trying to entertain the world than try to shape the world. You know, yeah, he wanted people to be happy, but I think he that was kind of what, I mean, as a matter of fact, in one of the stories that we saw about how he came up with Disneyland, he just wanted a place where families could go and have fun together. That doesn't seem like the type of person that would be taking over the world, you know. So I'm going to go with untrue.
All right. Our next one is Haunted Mansion when it was open for like a preview. Scared someone to death so bad that they had to go in and change stuff and make it less scary.
Make it more child friendly.
All right. So the background with this is Haunted Mansion was either the last or one of the last attractions Walt personally worked on. It was supposed to open in like 1964-ish timeline, but they weren't done with it because it got delayed due to the 1964 World's Fair and what Disney did to enter that. And then it was delayed. It wasn't done yet. It was delayed again in 1966 because Walt died. And so he was working on it, so it affected how they were going forward. And then they were going to be putting in an attraction called Museum of the Weird, which they didn't end up doing, and they ended up taking some of the elements that were going into that attraction and used them in Haunted Mansion. So it eventually ended up opening, I don't remember the date, but so it was delayed quite a bit, so that could start some of these type of rumors. But from what I heard, like the rumor of the person died, he was like, he had a heart attack. I think from my medical experience, if that did happen and someone had a heart attack on it when it was first opened, he was going to have a heart attack. It was that point in time when it happened, didn't have anything to do with the ride. So I'm going to say untrue.
I'm going to have to agree with that. And, you know, if they were going to have a heart attack, generally speaking, being so scared that you have a heart attack, it's because your blood pressure actually just jumps up. There's no like scientific evidence that says you can be so scared that it'll actually stop the electrical impulses to your heart. It's got to be that there was already damage there and that your blood pressure shot up, causing a blockage that caused your heart to stop. So being that scared, I find it implausible. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not possible that somebody had a heart attack, but from it being too scary, I don't think that's why it was delayed, and I don't think if somebody had a heart attack there, that was why.
They've already covered it.
So you're going to say untrue? You think it's untrue?
If he was going to have a heart attack, he was going to have a heart attack regardless. So, I think it's untrue.
Okay. Our next one.
Real skeletons on pirates. Now, here's the thing with it. So, when Pirates of the Caribbean in Disneyland first opened, they actually got real skeletons from UCLA. But over time, they had to replace them with fake skeletons. Now, the conspiracy theory is that there's still a real skull and crossbones in the bed of the dead pirate captain when you're going through it. And that's the only real skeleton left.
So when they first built the ride, they used real skeletons that they got donated from UCLA, is what the historical stuff says, because the technology at the time allowed the fake skeletons to look really fake,
like Halloween decoration, fake skeletons
instead of decent. So, and I think when it first opened, that could very well be plausible that they did that.
Yeah, really fake, like Ahmed.
Yeah.
It says made in China on him.
Anyway, so I did a lot of research with this one, looking up stuff. One of the channels we really like on Provost Park Pass on their video says it's not true, that the skull and crossbones on the captain's bed, in that first scene when you're coming in around the corner and you're getting into the pirates scene, there's the pirates playing chess on the right, on the left is the dead pirate captain in the bed,
which would be Ilda Morta.
They said it wasn't true. I found multiple sources that our cast members were saying it is true. Every time we go, I look at it. They do look pretty realistic. And so I'm going to say plausible.
Alright, so this is my favorite conspiracy that we've done or that we're doing. So I have 2 points I want to make. Alright, I think it's plausible, but on the other side of it, Disney can do fake stuff really well. They can use makeup and stuff to make it look real. But I think it's a possibility that they are real. So I'm going to say plausible.
Clearly I'm going to lose on this one.
Well, it depends.
Well, I'm thinking untrue, and this is why. Again, I don't think California law would allow them to still have human remains in the park.
But if anybody could get away with it, it would be Disney.
This is true. We all know there are large corporations can influence the right people to get what they want. Disney is no exception to this.
Well, and if it really is an older set that was initially used on the ride, they could have some sort of grandfathered in rule.
This is true.
That allows them to still use that particular set. Because one of the things I saw said those were donated to the Disney Corporation by somebody that wanted them to specifically use the skull and the bones on the ride. So I don't know if that's true or not for sure. But
who knows?
If they did in fact use them, they could have some sort of grandfathered in.
Which that is true. But I still, in this day and age, I with the fact that you could make a reasonable facsimile that looks from that distance in that light looks like the real thing. I honestly don't think they would have the real thing in there because, not just the fact that, I'm sure the law says that you can't just put a human skull in there. I'm sure there's, there would be a moral debate about it. Mm-hmm. And furthermore, as bones dry out, they get a little more brittle. The plastic would be, plastic or whatever resin that they make it out of would be more durable. And that way, if it was removed to be cleaned or touched up in some way, shape, or form. If it was dropped, it'd be less likely to get broken. Which, who knows? The real skull could have been moved to be cleaned and dropped and broken years ago, and they replaced it with the fake one, and nobody knows, except for the one person who dropped it.
And the person who made it.
Yeah.
The new one.
Well, it's possible, knowing Disney, they have backups for everything.
Oh, yeah. They have backups for everything. So, yeah, it could...
Their backups have backups.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't originally.
That's true.
But now...
But what they found out when there was that fire on Pirates of the Caribbean that they needed to have backup costumes, and fortunately, the seamstress who did all of the costumes for Pirates of the Caribbean went, I'm going to outsmart them and ask for twice as much fabric, so that way I can already have a second set.
And now they have 3. That's a little bit of Disney tidbit info that I'm sure you can find anywhere else, but that we're going to give you right here. All right, so you're going to say...
I'm thinking it's untrue.
Okay. So, because we're going to rule it plausible. Okay, so our last one that we're doing is that the United States government purchased the old Discovery Island in the very middle of Walt Disney World.
Are you talking about the death camp thing?
To use as a death camp.
I have one question about this one. Who actually went, yeah, that sounds believable?
I don't know. Here's
Because
my thing.
Number one, that sounds so far-fetched that the federal government would go, hey, I know there's hundreds of thousands of people that look at this piece of property every year and photograph it and take video of it, but let's do a super secret place to hide people right there in plain sight.
I have a question. Why would you put a death camp in the middle of Disney World when you've got millions of acres or not millions, but a lot of acres of land in Alaska?
Hey, that was my point. Out in the middle of nowhere to use. So,
how about a real life Urapente?
right. Discovery Island was initially like an animal preserve type thing. And then when Disney built Animal Kingdom and it fell off, it was closed. And now it's abandoned. And you can find, if you Google abandoned Discovery Disney Park, you can find people that have went out there and gotten pictures and video of it and stuff that weren't allowed to. But it's in and near all the Disney parks and in the middle of Walt Disney World. Why would the government buy something like that? I mean, you would see them trucking the people in, you know what I mean? Like,
or even bringing them in by helicopter.
Right, you would see all of that.
And Disney's a no-fly zone.
Yeah, but that doesn't count for government, medical, or military.
Yeah.
Or military, law enforcement, or medical. They can fly
So,
over.
there would be tons, if that were true, there would be tons of evidence to that. So, I just had to include that one because it was so funny. I was like, oh my god.
I think we're all going to say the exact same thing on this, so I'm just going to call it untrue.
Yeah, I still can't believe anybody would even go, yeah, that sounds realistic.
Why?
That's a good idea. Let's put a place that we kill people right in the middle of, Disney World.
Where there's going to be small children.
And gobs
Lots
and
of
gobs and hordes of people.
And, tons of witnesses with cameras.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean,
What sense does that even make?
I mean, granted,
doesn't.
politicians do some stupid stuff, but
Come on!
there's got to be a limit,
All right. So, tell us in the comments, what was your favorite conspiracy theory we covered?
And do you agree with us?
And yeah, do you find it could be true? Plausible? or untrue. Let us know what you think in the comments, and make sure that you check out all of our
social media pages.
Our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter, and our Pinterest. And make sure you go to our Patreon page and support us on Patreon. And there is some neat little goodies for our Patreon peoples up.
Like the outtakes from this video.
The outtakes from all of our videos.
We have outtakes and special videos and photographs that are available only to our Patreon peoples. And also, if you want to check out another one of our videos, there's going to be, just click right here and you can check out a video and hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified when we upload a new video. And as always, thank you for watching our videos. We are so pleased that you like us and that you want to watch our videos and you want us to make more content. And we have more content coming your way. And
I can't believe we've got requests.
I know, it's so cool. Thank you, and keep them coming for right now.
Oh yeah.
We are going to try and get requests in. And then any comments, any questions, I try to get back to them as quick as I can. And as always, have a magical day.